So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on using prep programs to develop youth leadership skills. My name is Patrick with RTI. I'll be helping out with the virtual room today. So just a quick note, when you log in, your microphone will be automatically muted. If you have any questions for a presenter today, you may submit those into the Q&A or chat window at any time. And if you run into any technical issues, just reach out to me through the chat window. So at this time, I'll go ahead and turn things over to Michelle to introduce us to today's session. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. It's so good to see you today, and thanks so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started in just a few moments. In the meantime, we'd love to know where you're calling from. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. And one other piece of information that would be helpful in our conversation today is also in where you are implementing your program. So if you are implementing in a school setting or non-traditional setting, we'd love to know those details so we can think about how to embed youth leadership in your setting specifically. So feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Again, thanks for being here. We'll get started in just a moment. Hello again. Thanks to those who have come in since my last intro. We are going to go ahead and get started in just a moment. In the meantime, if you'd like to introduce yourself, where you're calling from, and the setting in which you implement your prep program in the chat, that'll be helpful for us as we consider examples for today's conversation. Looks like we've got a pretty good group, so we'll go ahead and get started. Feel free to continue to introduce yourself in the chat. Again, my name is Michelle Dorsonville. Thanks so much for being here with us today. I am a training and technical assistance provider with RTI International. I'll tell you a little bit more about what that means as a training and technical assistance provider at the end of our webinar. We do have a great hour planned for our conversation today, featuring a few co-presenters, Kelsey, Jessica, Sabi, and Ashley. So I'll take us through the start of the webinar with some details, and then we will get things going. First, let's start out with our objectives. So by the end of this webinar, we hope that participants will be able to describe the components of youth leadership opportunities, understand how our 3 featured prep programs integrate youth leadership skill and development into their programming. And then lastly, we're going to review resources to support continued learning about youth leadership skill development. Today is just the beginning of the conversation. And if more support is needed, we have resources available, and we are happy to assist with technical assistance. Here's a review of our agenda. So first, we will lay some foundation by providing an overview of the principles for youth engagement and youth development. Then we'll talk about youth leadership standards and indicators. Additionally, recommending some resources for further learning. And then we'll hear from our 3 prep programs: Healthy Futures of Texas, New Jersey Department of Health, and then lastly, the Latin American Youth Center. We will have some time for Q&A for all 3 program presentations afterwards, and then we'll close out and do a short evaluation. So first, I know some folks are still introducing themselves. I'd love to provide you another opportunity to participate in the chat. What words come to mind when you think of youth leadership opportunities? What ideas do you have? What are the first sort of thoughts that you think of when you think of youth leadership and youth leadership opportunities? Community, empowerment, empowering. Great. Equity, I love that. They're coming in so fast. Thank you so much for the engagement. Community advocates, helping folks to be future leaders, changing the future. Great. These are all really great suggestions. Service learning, that's a great additional perspective, Jacqueline. Peer support. Fung, adding diversity as well. That's great. So you all are right on target with what we're thinking of when it comes to youth leadership development and sort of the importance of that. Why do we even want to engage youth in leadership opportunities? You all mentioned many of the reasons, really thinking about folks' future. Here are some other considerations. So it really can change the direction of a young person's life, right? So having meaningful engagement and providing a young person with a leadership opportunity can really shift the trajectory of where that young person goes. That's an amazing amount of potential there. Youth engagement will also prepare young people to become future leaders. So depending on the way in which folks are engaged, depending on the structure of the opportunity, it really might set them up for success when they are presented with leadership opportunities in the future, right? So we're really helping them kind of start out and lay the foundation for what their future leadership opportunities might look like. Youth engagement can also be considered a young person's civil right. Really having the opportunity and the right to be engaged and participate in our programming. And then lastly, it also allows youth to make a difference in improving their school and community. So a few folks put in buy-in in the chat in terms of what they thought of for leadership opportunities, and engaging youth definitely allows for youth to buy into their community and their program and kind of give back with that time. A little bit more about the Foundation for Youth Development and Leadership. It is a part of the youth development process, and it supports the young person in developing so many skills. The ability to analyze their own strengths and weaknesses, right? So depending on how the developmental opportunity is set up, there may be points in time where their strengths are excelling and they're doing very well and they are great at this activity or this practice, right? And it's also going to allow them to understand maybe what their weaknesses are and what their areas of opportunity are so that they can work on those as they continue to grow and develop. It's going to allow them to set personal and vocational goals. Maybe the goals that they're setting are aligned with their strengths and areas of weakness or opportunity, right? It allows them to have the self-esteem, the confidence, the motivation, and the abilities to carry out any of those personal vocational goals. It also allows folks to establish support networks in order to fully participate in community life and affect positive social change. So that's something, that last point there, really around support networks. Youth leadership opportunities not only provide skills, right, and the ability to kind of practice and demonstrate skills, but it is around positive relationships with adults and mentors. and establishing those relationships with adults in their activities. Youth leadership also supports the young person in developing the ability to guide or direct others on a course of action, right? So this idea of leadership and being able to provide guidance to other people, and also, again, setting them up for future opportunities for leadership. So really practicing what it's like to be a leader, maybe thinking of this in a peer education context, being able to provide instructions or facilitate an activity, facilitate a discussion among group members. That youth leadership development opportunity really allows them to practice this skill here. A little bit more about youth development and leadership. So in order to set up the ideal youth development opportunities, these are the things that we want to provide. We want to provide mentoring activities that are designed to establish strong relationships with adults through formal and informal settings. Oh, okay, caught that quick. This is related to the point I mentioned earlier around the benefit of having positive relationships with adults, right? Youth also need peer-to-peer mentoring opportunities. So how will they have the opportunity to practice providing guidance to their peers or younger youth? They need exposure to role models in a variety of contexts. That's very similar, I think, to that first bullet, really thinking about providing strong relationships with adults, both through formal and informal settings. They also need training and skills such as self-advocacy and conflict resolution. Many of the curricula that you all have selected and are implementing in your prep programs use self-advocacy skills training and conflict resolution skills training. So that might already be built into the work that you're doing with your youth. Exposure to personal leadership and youth development activities, including some community service. So again, providing opportunities for young folks to give back to the communities that they are living in or the school that they are attending. And then lastly, an opportunity to exercise leadership and build self-esteem. So as young folks are provided with these opportunities to demonstrate their leadership skills, it will increase their self-esteem over time. Another question for you: what youth leadership opportunities did you participate in as an adolescent? When you think back to your experience, what were some opportunities that you participated in? I was on the student council, and I really, really loved that in high school. What about you all? Feel free to enter those in the chat. And the teen outreach program, captain of a sports team. Okay, also in student council, Erica, Student Council United. Oh, and Emily. Lots of student council folks. Okay, 4-H as well. Club. I don't know what that one is, Jimmy Lee. Some more sports, Girl Scouts as well. A great leadership opportunity. Teen club. Awesome. You all had the opportunity to participate in youth leadership as an adolescent yourself, and I trust that you recognize how that contributed to your development. Let's talk a little bit about youth development and youth leadership standards and indicators. Towards the end of our conversation today, we will share a link to this fuller toolkit, but the National Alliance for Secondary Education and Transition has come up with youth leadership standards. And essentially, when we take a look at the youth development and youth leadership programs and opportunities that we're creating, we want to be sure that they include these 4 categories here. So are youth able to acquire the skills, behaviors, and attitudes that would enable them to grow in self-knowledge, social interaction, and physical and emotional health? Again, many of the curricula that you are all using will incorporate some of these components, but this is a great conversation starter for your teams. You know, do you feel that the program that you're currently implementing allows youth to check this box? Secondly, are youth able to understand the relationship between their individual strengths and desires and their future goals, right? So helping folks make that connection between what are they good at and what do they want to do in the future, what are some options, and how do we kind of bridge that gap, right, from individual strengths and desires to their future goals? Is the youth development opportunity allowing young folks to practice leadership and participate in community life? We've talked about the importance of giving back to either the school or the community that folks are living in. Does your youth leadership opportunity allow people to do that? And then lastly, does it allow youth the ability to make informed decisions for themselves? Are they able, and decision making, I know, is another component of the curricula that many of you all are using, but does it allow the opportunity itself, the leadership opportunity, does it allow youth to demonstrate the ability to make informed decisions? And again, we will talk a little bit more about this toolkit in our resources section. This note here speaks to what many of you all contributed in the chat in terms of the variety of youth leadership opportunities. They do come in the forms of sports, faith-based and service activities, youth-run community programs, extracurricular activities, camps, national organizations like 4-H or Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and then employment. You know, if you're working that summer job at the ice cream shop, serving pizza, whatever it might be, that also is a form of youth leadership. All right, it is now time to transition to hear from our 3 spotlighted grantees for our experiences from the fields section. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and toss it to Kelsey.
Thank you, Michelle. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kelsey Olson, and I am the Program Director of Higher Education for Talk About It Texas, which is powered by Healthy Futures of Texas, formerly known as Baby Safe. So I oversee the Campus Conversations Department, which supports community colleges and universities in the Rio Grande, in the South Texas area, I apologize, with partnership at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. So further from here, I'll be noting it as UTRGV. Within our project, we have built a peer ambassador program. And again, we're at 2 campuses, about an hour apart in the very lower South Texas region. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our goals. So our project is committed to preparing and connecting young adults on community colleges and universities with information and resources needed to be empowered about their sexual health. In a sense, we just provide evidence-based programs. We provide referrals to teen-friendly healthcare services for low or no cost, and then also provide resources in the community. Next slide, please. Ways that we've embedded our youth leadership development concept into this actually came from our experience on the campuses, where students were coming up to us and like, this is so cool, I've never had anything like this. How can I get involved? How can I help? What can I do? And when we first started, we didn't have this component really fleshed out and built out. And we finally decided this was a really big need. So our peer ambassador program, we hope to empower and educate other young adults to inform and support their peers. So the team is made up of 5 peers per campus. So 2 campuses, 10 peers total. They receive stipends for helping plan and host events, whether that be on campus or virtually. They're trained on key sexual health messaging on, key messaging around preconception and sexual health. And then they represent the Talk About It RGV program on campus and virtually. Next slide. To share a little bit more about what this looks like, peers really are there to represent the voice of the student population. So they're there to provide insight on what programming and what approaches will resonate with their peers, but they're guided by a health educator. So our health educators are on campus and they recruit their cohort within the first 3 weeks of the fall semester. So lots of back to school activities, lots of fun things happening. Peers are recruited for the full year. So that means they're going to support or commit to being a peer for the fall 23 and the spring 2024. So this looks like at minimum them attending 3 events, 2 trainings, and 2 planning meetings. And this kind of totals up to about 10 to 15 hours per month for their participation. Next slide, please. A little bit about the training and workshops. Of course, we want to equip them. We want them to feel confident and comfortable in the topic. A lot of them are new to the topic in general. And then also the actually public speaking piece of it, or the connecting and recruiting and outreach part of the work that we do. So our health educators at each campus provide training to increase that confidence and knowledge around the messaging with sexual health. So key training concepts include Sex Ed 101, where they kind of learn what is the Talk About It Texas program, what are we trying to accomplish, the clinical linkages piece, like how do we connect people to teen-friendly care, what does that look like? We provide answering sensitive questions and remaining values neutral training. Trauma-informed approaches and curriculum training, so they can know, like, okay, what evidence-based program do we offer? What does it look like? So they can feel more confident when they're talking to students, like, oh yeah, I've done it. It's really easy. It's really fun. We would love to have you do it with us. They also do a gender and sexual diversity training as well. Next slide, please. To share again a little bit about the process. So peers are really there, the development of our outreach, our recruitment, our communication strategies, events and initiatives are done with guidance from the peers. So our health educators do lead and supervise and coordinate those efforts, but the peers are really on campus doing all the fun stuff with us. So that looks like some out of class time supplemental learning opportunities. So when they're not in class, are there events happening outside of that? Have we hosted one ourselves, or have we jumped on another student life event that we can kind of engage students with? So peers are really taught that connection with other peers. Like, how do you talk to peers about this? How do we practice making a pitch? How do we ask somebody or how do we educate someone on this topic? So the engaging tabling activities and events, that looks like more than just sitting at the table telling somebody about the project. Or the resource, that looks like potentially leading a game or activity like Jeopardy or Jenga, more sexual health education topics that are built into games. They also support the outreach and recruitment for evidence-based programs. So we facilitate 17 days sharp Plan A. Those are all evidence-based programs that we've been approved to implement. So again, we want them to feel confident, talking to their peers about the programs that we offer, and then inviting them to other campus events as well that we host, which I'll share with you in a minute. And then in-class implementations, we invite our peers when they're able to come in and help us. So can you kind of see how we're implementing, or can you help take on a piece of the implementation that's a supportive role so they can kind of get that practice being in front of their peers. Next slide, please. Some highlights, again, the outreach and recruitment efforts on campus, tabling with the materials and resources, whether that be in person or virtual. I named a few of them. Engaging with students and staff as a ambassador of Talk About It Texas. We ask them to practice, connecting with their professors, asking them, hey, I want to tell you about our program. Can I come in and present to my fellow students? And then maybe that looks like the student or the peer actually coming in and doing a presentation for their peers in class time. We also encourage our peer ambassadors to jump into some of the faculty trainings that we offer so they can get that chance to build that comfortability and confidence as a voice in that space with other professionals that are maybe instructors or professors that maybe feels a little bit intimidating, but we want them to get there so that they feel like, hey, my voice is heard. And that also, there's a lot of things that are kind of going on there. We don't have time for that. And then also attending and staffing events and leading activities if appropriate, like our game day. If you'll go to the next slide, please. Here's a couple of the events that we've run in the last year. We've had chocolates, condoms, and consent, 17 days party. We had our first ever youth track for a South Texas Adolescent Health Summit, where peers were invited to contribute to the ideas of what we were going to do and then also attend and support. We actually had an event last week and it was called Let's Talk About It, Boo. And it was a Halloween themed event and they jumped in and supported that as well. And I forgot to mention the commitment. Essentially, if they come support a training, or come attend a training for a 2-hour period, they get the stipend. If they come to an event for a 2-hour period, they get the stipend. So that's where their kind of accountability piece is. If you'll go to the next slide. Some benefits of the program: developing communication and leadership skills, improving public speaking, presentation, and health promotion skills, gaining professional work experience, and learning how to facilitate in-person and virtual events. Next slide. Lessons learned: food, fun. We know this. Do it. It's great. They love it. Just keeping things light, keeping them going, having a little bit of fun. They've got a lot going on in their lives. So if they can build that relationship with us and we can be there with them to help kind of guide and support them in any way, that's what we're here for. Getting creative during meetings, getting to know your group. What are their strengths? Where are they interested in? Scheduling opportunities, making sure that you have plenty of options for them to engage throughout the year, because sometimes classes come into play. They can't get there because of whatever it is, transportation. So how can we create enough opportunities for them to hop in? And then creating space for feedback, and then meeting them where they're at and getting flexible and creative. I could share a lot more. I don't have time to, but I would love to share more. If you go to the next slide, I believe that was my last one. This is me. If you have questions or you want to know more, here's how you can reach me. I'm happy to connect with anybody beyond this to share what we've accomplished. Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Kelsey. Now we're going to go ahead and hear from the New Jersey Department of Health. And so at this time, I will toss it over to Jessica Sabi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Shields, and I am the PrEP Program Specialist here at New Jersey Department of Health. And my co-presenter?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sabi Hassan, and I am an intern at the New Jersey Department of Health, and I'm also a youth development specialist for them.
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about our Voice of Youth Planning Committee and some of the various leadership opportunities for New Jersey youth. Next slide, please. So first, we want to provide a brief history of our Voices of Youth Planning Committee. This is to give you all a little bit of a background. So in 2017, the New Jersey Department of Health made YABs a required activity as part of our state prep and SRAE grants. This eventually became the requirement across all of our grants within our program at the Department of Health. Each YAB can have up to 10 teens, 3 allies, and 2 advisors. YABs are required to meet quarterly. Most meet in person, but others meet virtually, depending on the need and makeup. So if a grantee has a YAB where all their members are in one high school, they might decide to meet in person. But if we have a grantee who has a YAB members across various high schools or community-based organizations, they might decide to meet virtually. The requirement is, though, that they have at least 4 meetings a year, and each member receives $50 for each quarterly meeting they attend. In 2019, a YAB consisting of representatives from each YAB was formed, and it evolved and eventually became known as the Voice of Youth Planning Committee. Next slide, please.
All right, so the current Voice of Youth Planning Committee, it is youth run with 2 Department of Health interns, which is me and my co-intern Jasmine, and it is supervised by Department of Health staff like Jessica here. And we currently have about 15 active planning committee members, and we are independent of YAB. So although we do have youth and it is a board, we aren't technically a youth advisory board. So it is open to any youth or young adult in NJ. Some are from YABs and others are not. And for our planning sessions, the Voice of Youth Planning Committee members receive $25 each per meeting. And we meet more frequently throughout the year as we decide what events or initiatives we like to implement. So currently we are planning something for January. It is a Youth Advisory Board statewide meeting that Jasmine and I are planning with the help of our Voice of Youth Planning Committee. And we kind of just get their input on stuff that youth would like and what they'd want to see in an event like this. And we can go to the next slide.
So here's a little bit of a visual structure of the YAB. So so first, our New Jersey Department of Health Child and Adolescent Health Program, we work with our grantees, interns, and the Voice of Youth Planning Committees to deliver health information that New Jersey youth want. We have 4 grants within our unit, and 4 of those grants are the GLS, which is the Garrett Lee Smith Suicide Prevention Grant, School Health, which is funded through our MCH Title V grant, our state prep grant, and our state SRA grant. So the parentheses with the numbers in there represent how many YABs are for each of those grants. And then we have our interns. We currently have 2 interns who are former YAB members, and one of their roles is that they currently oversee the Voice of Youth Planning Committee, and they are paid internships. And so youth from YAB can decide to participate in the Voice of Youth Planning Committee at any time or become an intern when they enter college. Next slide, please. So these are some of the youth leadership opportunities that are available to New Jersey youth. We have internships, we have town halls and webinars, and they can either participate or plan or implement. In-person meetings, again, participation or planning and implementing. Then we have various projects, and we have them the opportunity to participate in our strategic planning. Next slide, please.
All right, so here are some examples of flyers and some pictures from our New Jersey Department of Health overall. So number 1 is an awareness flyer created by the interns, which is me and Jasmine, and members of our youth advisory board and Voice of Youth Planning Committee. So we kind of just took it month by month, and we wanted to make a flyer for each month, kind of just celebrating and raising awareness for a certain topic. And number 2 is a picture of the training space for the most recent youth voice training and strategic planning, which was in July of 2023. Number 3 is a flyer created by the VOIPC for a listening session for youth and their parents. And this one focused on COVID vaccination since it was a huge topic at the time. Number 4 is a picture of participants from our first in-person YAB meeting. Number 5 is a former intern, Schneider, and he was speaking at an event, which I think is really cool. Number 6 is a flyer created by YAB members for an NJ Youth Town Hall. Number 7 is another example like number 1. It's an awareness flyer that we created for the month. And then number 8 is a YAB and VOYPC member who presented during a webinar. So that's Fatima. And we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So here are some of our successes and challenges. I'll start off with the accomplishments first. So we're youth-led. All our members are youth, and Jasmine and I are youth as well. So by youth-led, that means we kind of just plan and run things on our own with the help of youth, and then kind of just we get support from the adults as well. Like our event in January that I mentioned previously, Jasmine and I are planning it, and then we'll have the Voice of Youth Planning Committee give their opinions and input on stuff, and then we'll just run it by the adults to make sure everything is running smoothly. And then robust membership, it's about 100 youth throughout the state with various backgrounds. Representation from across state and grants, kind of similar to the last point. We just have a huge diversity of members in a bunch of different ranges. So it could be from their age to their ethnic background to economic status, anything like that. And then compensated youth leadership. So for the YABs, it is $50 per meeting, and then it is $25 per meeting for our VOYPC. And that's because it's more frequent and for the YAB than it is for the VOYPC, because it's our VOYPC is a meeting about once or twice a month at most. And our VOYPC meetings are also a little bit shorter than the YAB meetings are. And another example of compensated youth leadership is the paid internship. Some of our barriers are attendance. So listening sessions can fluctuate between 15 to 100 people. It depends on the schedules of the youth and the planning members and how we can kind of just solve the problem of attendance. Transportation, so to in-person events, busing, and transportation issues make it challenging to meet or hold in-person events regularly, which is kind of why the VOYPC, we meet on Zoom. So COVID was a big one. During COVID, when schools went virtual and in-person gatherings halted, our programs and our YABs had to make that immediate switch to virtual, which had similar issues that any youth program faced during COVID, such as increases in issues with mental health, home family life, and technology access. Since school has resumed to standard practice, less youth have been participating in our virtual events and on our planning committee. And communication, an example of communication barrier is that youth response time to emails and polls can get difficult. It does take a while for youth to check their email because, I mean, that's kind of something that's like, I know I didn't check my email a lot when I was younger, but when they do check it and when we do get a response, we're pretty grateful for that. And then logistic barriers could be virtual versus in-person events. Like where would it be? How often would we meet? And stuff like that. So we can go to the next slide.
So this is how we recruit and retain our youth. We use the typical recruitment strategies. So through our YABs will recommend people to the Voice of Youth Planning Committee. And they get YAB members from the curriculums and the programs that are implemented in the schools and the community-based settings. We use referrals. So we'll have youth join the Voice of Youth Planning Committee, and then they'll say, oh, can my sister join, or can my cousin join? And yep, we'll let them join. Also, referrals can come in the form of other professionals or community-based organizations. For example, we might have a school-based youth services officer who thinks, who works with the youth, has a youth that would just be a great member to our team. And so we do get referrals that way. And then also through the traditional marketing points. How we retain them is it's flexible. So it's the youth decide when it is and where it is and how it is. And it's not like the same day of the or night, I should say, or time. They'll do doodle polls and articulate what works for them. It is youth run, so having that youth connection helps. The planning members are compensated, and we've kind of built growth into our program. So earlier I had mentioned how we allow for allies. So we found what an ally is a person who's recently graduated high school and still wants to be connected to our program. So we found that youth, when they are graduating high school and still want to be connected to our programs, we found creating this ally position in YABs and our Voice of Youth Planning Committee helps so that they can take on this leadership opportunities and still stay connected to our program. So allies are typically your college age students. So like Sabi would be an example of an ally who's also an intern. So we really took into account how to grow through our programs and also as our youth grow as well. Next slide, please. So these are two examples of recruitment. The one on the left is a general recruitment flyer for our Voice of Youth Planning Committee that Sabi and Jasmine use to recruit youth. Then the other one on the right is an example of a recruitment flyer for listening sessions that we had. Next slide, please. So these are some of the lessons that we've learned. Start small, so you don't have to jump right off the bat with like 100 people. Start small, start with what you had. And I think that also goes to the resource utilization. So we used our programs and we made YAB's requirement. At first it was optional, but then we found like anything that's optional, some people do it, some people don't. So not only did we find that making it requirement there was a bigger uptake in it for our subrecipients, but also making it requirement across all of our grants within our department. And then also provide training. So for folks who are advisors to our youth advisory boards, they've all been trained in youth mentoring.
Right. And then also include youth. It may sound like a given, but sometimes it's not. Just work with the youth to create the goals and structure. Kind of just hear from them more. Be consistent, be available regularly for meetings and opportunities. Since it is a lot of youth and they are doing a bunch of things like school and clubs, you kind of have to work around them in a sense, just so you can accommodate them as well. And be persistent, continue to reach out and don't give up. I know it took a lot for Jasmine and I to start getting members to sign up, but once you did, the flow just kind of keeps going and going, and then eventually you will have a large group of people. So you just kind of had to keep going. And the next slide.
And this is our contact information. So feel free to email us or call if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jessica and Sabine. We are going to transition to our last highlight, which will be presented by Ashley.
Hi, everyone. So I am Ashley Funes. I'm the Sexual Wellness Coordinator here at the Latin American Youth Center. I'm also the PRIAS Program Coordinator. So I oversee the PRIAS program, which is like the Personal Responsibility Education Innovative Strategies Program, the mouthful. And yes, you can go to the next slide. Sorry. So just a short introduction into our program. So like I said, we're the PRIUS program. We are a research study going on. We have a research study going on right now. It's between 2022 to 2025. Right now we're offering the curriculum Many Ways of Being for young people from all gender and identities ages 15 to 19. It's composed of 8 2-hour sessions. There's usually after school, but we're trying to work on implementing it during school to just help with actually like the youth that we reach and helping out with the schedules that they have already, which I'll get into it later. But also like the program overall is to reduce incidences of sexually transmitted infections as well as unplanned pregnancies, promoting healthy and consensual and violent-free relationships among youth. It was developed and it be implemented in school settings in English and Spanish from 2022 to 2025. And it also has a complementary digital engagement Instagram component. Sorry, I'm like all over the place. This mask is not making it any better. But yes, it's just a short introduction into our curriculum that we are offering. And next slide for me. So just an overview of the translated resources. So because we're trying to maximize the youth that we reach and the youth that we serve, we have translated our curriculum into Spanish, as well as, like I previously stated, we do offer an Instagram component. Social media is a big part of our youth's lives. So we're trying to like reach them. So that's whether like we post on social media, just summaries of what we learned that week during implementation and everything. So we try to post and just remind them and continuously have them learn and retain that information. So we post the ones that are on the right hand side. So the anger iceberg. We also teach them about the different contraceptive methods that we also post on social media. And then in the top right, it's actually a map of DC, a metro map of DC. And we've actually like adjusted it to teach and represent like intersectionality and everything. So it's really cool how we try to use the resources and like just the stuff that we offer here in DC, and try to just, show our youth and make it youth friendly, stuff like that. So next slide. So with our program, we establish peer ambassadors or youth ambassadors that we like to call it. So our ambassadors are inspiring youth that want to be involved with our program after they completed it. So we are very fortunate to have a lot of youth that have completed a program so far. It's about to be a 1 year into our research and implementation of our program, and we're really excited with the youth that we have served, and we're excited that a lot of the youth want to continue being part of the program. So that's why we decided to create this peer ambassador program and really offer them an opportunity to be involved in the community and involved in the program and help us spread the word. So ambassadors run and assist with recruitment events, community presentation, class reminders, and graduation. So we offer a lot of opportunities for them to continuously be involved, and we get a lot of feedback from them as well. Our ambassadors are constant, like we're asking them if our implementation styles, if our recruitment styles, if our retention styles are up to date, what can be improved. So we're constantly getting feedback from our youth ambassadors. And that's the whole reason why we created this program, not only to keep them involved and help us with like recruitment numbers, but also just help us maximize youth voice. So next slide for me. So the benefits of the peer ambassadors. So for the peer ambassadors, they actually get leadership skills. So a lot of the time they're public speaking, they're talking in school events, they're talking in the cafeterias, they're helping us promote our program, which overall helps us with their confidence. Another benefit that they get is they get a lot of gift cards as well as community service hours. They also have a lot of fun. had a lot of feedback with youth ambassadors on like how we can improve it, but also like the great things that we have done and how engaging we've made the program for youth, for the community, the benefits the community gets. That like overall we changed like the way that they think about important like stereotypes, workforces, attitudes, and like beliefs in like families and stuff like that. And the benefits that the program gets. So we definitely do get an increase of retention rates, recruitment numbers, and just it strengthens our partnerships. So a lot of schools like to see that we're offering a program after they've completed our initial program, and they like to see that they were offering community service hours and leadership opportunities and just a lot of materials that can help build their resumes. And like I said, we're all benefiting from it. So not only the community and the ambassadors, but also like, as well the program. So definitely retention numbers and recruitment numbers have gone up after creating the peer ambassador programs, just because like I said, we've been receiving a lot of feedback from them and how we can continuously improve. Next slide for me. Youth voices. So these are just some of the feedback that we have. We do, like I said, this is a research study. So we receive a lot of feedback from the youth that have completed the program, as well as our youth ambassadors. And part of being part of the research study is that we have a lot of focus groups to really gain feedback. And they know that this is all anonymous, so there's no bias in like the data that we do gather. And they give us a lot of positive feedback. And we try to work on it. We try to make it better and continuously grow as a program. But these are just some youth voices. So I'm gonna just give it a little bit more time for everyone to read. Like I said, just amazing feedback, amazing use of youth peer ambassadors and like youth voices and stuff like that, trying to increase that. All right, and we're gonna go to the next slide. Okay, it did not switch for me. Okay. So listening to youth voices, so we try to have accessibility and representation. So definitely trying to look at the youth that we're serving and how we can make it more accessible to students with disabilities and like language barriers and overall like are going through a change or a shift in their identity. So definitely like adapting their handout and facilitation for students with disabilities and intersectional examples and storylines. So definitely making sure that they're represented in our curriculum as well as in like everyday run of our program. So building retention strategies for participations, ensuring that the session times work with their schedules and school events. So like I said, we have received a lot of feedback with that students are busy because of other extracurricular activities, work, and other stuff, just other stuff that they have to do, like picking up their siblings and stuff. So they don't have the opportunity to stay after school. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to shift so that we're able to still offer this program during the school. And this is feedback that we've received from youth. So like I said, we're shifting and we're constantly shifting for times that do work. Sometimes we offer Saturday classes, and a lot of the youth love that. And, they get to come to the youth center and learn about our program when they have a lot of they don't have a lot of free time during the week. Sorry. Establishing incentive structures and that attract youth. So community service hours, a lot of youth, community service hours are a requirement for graduation. So a lot of the youth really need that and are attracted to a program initially because of the community service hours, as well as like the monetary value. So we do give them gift cards and stuff for completing our program, and the youth ambassadors get gift card for helping out at events, recruitment events, and other events, as well as like graduation. So trying Also trying new facilitation strategies for active and consistent participation, ensuring parental and school support. So mediating backlash. So balancing the need for parental consent versus assent and speaking with parents about the program, having the students talk with the teachers and admin about the benefits of the program. So youth ambassadors do a great job of not only sharing and talking to like their peers, but talking to the students, the teachers and the administrators of like the support and the benefits that they've received from the program. And then with parents, we do try to have like parent orientations, and we try to make sure that parents feel comfortable of students attending our program and learning from our program. We do that because we offer a lot of resources here at the Latin American Youth Center um, that help parents out and help just overall helps them feel comfortable with the topics that we were discussing here in our program. Next slide. So the lessons learned, sorry. So just implementing further leadership opportunities and resources for past students, creating open dialogues with parents about programming, incentivize youth participation and celebrate their successes, train staff to be trauma informed and providing inclusive safe spaces and in positive youth development, whether that's peer support, mentoring, public speaking, etc. So these are just some of the lessons learned that we've had during our first year of our program implementation. So just overall, this is what we've gathered from our feedback that we've gathered, and then we've tried to implement and adjust our program moving forward. The next slide. And yeah, so if you want to learn a little bit more about our many ways of being curriculum and where what we offer, and just read a little bit more about the topics that we talk about, feel free to scan the QR code, and we can also send the link in the chat. And that is it for me.
Thanks so much, Ashley, for presenting highlights from your program. We are getting close to the end of the hour, so I'm not sure that we'll have ample time for question and answer. So what I'm going to do is drop a PDF of the presentation into the chat here, and that will contain the contact information for... Am I frozen?
No, you're good, Michelle.
Oh, okay, my computer's frozen, but I'm gonna keep going. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the PDF of the slides into the chat right here. That contains the contact information for our presenters. So you can feel free to reach out to them if you have any direct questions about their programs. As we wrap up our time today, I wanted to just spend a few moments talking through the resources and references. So in the PDF document, you will be able to click directly into these hyperlinked items on this slide and the next slide, which does provide a self-assessment tool, a priority setting tool, and an action planning tool as it relates to developing youth leadership programs. So I encourage you, if this is something that you're thinking about embedding into your prep program, I encourage you to definitely check out this resource here. And then down here as well, there are some resources available related to the national standards for quality indicators. Some additional opportunities to learn more. I'm also going to share a positive youth development infographic that will be coming to the exchange soon, but you all have first dibs here. And it highlights some of the principles that we've talked about today, but also just the importance of embedding positive youth development into our programs. That should be coming to you in the chat right now. There you are. This youth adult partnership rubric will allow you to assess the partnerships between youth and adults that you have in your programs. And then there's a great PYB Lab podcast which really just highlights youth programs around the globe that are embedding youth leadership. As we close out today, I wanted to spend a moment talking about technical assistance. As I mentioned, I am a technical assistance provider, and alongside our partners from Child Trends, ETR, and NEES, RTI provides technical assistance for PrEP grantees. We have a large team that is ready and able to provide you with targeted support related to any of these areas. So program implementation, management, monitoring subawardees, thinking through curricula, adulthood preparation subjects. Really, if you would like a sounding board or someone to work with as it relates to implementing your PrEP project, we are happy to help you. We also offer opportunities to connect with other grantees through our liaison groups. We offer office hours, and we welcome you to drop into these sessions to connect with each other as well as to connect with our TA providers. Our next opportunity is going to be in early December, entitled Supporting LGBTQIA+ Youth in PrEP Programming. It's a share and learn session where folks will bring their ideas and current practices on how they are engaging LGBTQ+ youth and share those strategies. And before you all leave today, we're going to go ahead and get your feedback about what you thought about today's webinar so that we can implement any changes moving forward. Thank you all so much for being here today.